I watched a video yesterday that put words around something I've been noticing in myself for quite a while now. And it made me think about how much of the conversation around money focuses on solely getting it, how to earn more, how to build a business, how to invest, how to save, how to create multiple streams of income, how to become wealthy instead of simply looking wealthy. And all those things matter. But there's another part of the conversation that I don't think we talk about nearly enough. Because getting money is one thing, but knowing how to hold on to it is another. And I don't just mean knowing how to budget. That's the automatic default. You can know how to budget. You can understand investing. You can know that you need an emergency fund. You can understand debt. You can know perfectly well that you should not spend any more than you have, and still make decisions that work against your own financial stability. And that's because sometimes the problem isn't that you don't know what to do. Sometimes the problem is everything you've been taught to feel about what you're supposed to do. And I've had to confront this ideal within myself. There are decisions I can look back on now and say that I knew better. Not in a mean, judgmental way where we beat ourselves over the head with hindsight. What I mean by that statement is that I literally knew in that moment that, there was something in me saying this probably isn't the best decision right now. I should probably hold on to this money. I should probably wait to move forward on this. Maybe I should just go ahead and ask for help. I should let somebody else carry their fair share. I should probably say no. And even though I knew all those things in those individual situations, I would still override myself. Sometimes it's because I felt guilty. Sometimes because I felt obligated. And sometimes it's because I thought a good parent, a good family member, a good person, a responsible adult was supposed to do something in a certain way. Sometimes because I felt like I should be able to handle everything myself. And then there were other times I simply did not trust my own judgment enough to follow what I already knew. And that is the part I really want to talk about, because we spend all this time learning how to make money and never deal with the emotional rules we're carrying around about money. And these are rules that we didn't necessarily choose. Most of the time, these are rules that were handed to us through family, through religion, culture, class, and even through shame. Another one is watching other people's mistakes and then being warned so aggressively not to become like them that we build our whole lives around proving that we aren't. And, some of those rules sound reasonable and are reasonable. But, never ask anybody for help, handle your own problems, parents provide, good people are generous, family takes care of family. Don't be selfish. Don't love money. Don't think too highly of yourself. Be grateful for whatever you have. Those statements aren't automatically wrong, even though some of them kind of sound it. And that's what makes this whole thing complicated, because almost anything that is healthy in the right context can become unhealthy when it turns into a rigid rule that you're afraid to question. Helping somebody is not the same thing as assuming financial responsibility for them. Being generous is not the same thing as draining yourself. Being independent is not the same thing as refusing to help when you genuinely need it. And providing for your family is not the same thing as carrying every expense forever. And asking an adult who lives in your household to reasonably contribute to the household is not the same thing as financially exploiting them. Those are all different things. And I think sometimes we know they're different, but we've absorbed so much judgment around money that we're afraid somebody's going to put us in the wrong category. There are absolutely parents who take too much money from adult children who live at home, and they take so much that the adult child can't save for a car, can't prepare to move out, can't build anything for themselves. That definitely happens. That happened to me. And because that happened, at times I can look back now saying as a parent, I've been overly generous in some ways. I've done things because I wanted to be the complete opposite of what I experienced, and not because it made financial sense. Because I didn't want to be the kind of parent that I had endured. And that's a much bigger pattern than, parenting itself. Somebody else was greedy. So now I was afraid to protect my own money because I didn't want to look greedy too. Somebody else abandons everybody after they become successful. So now you feel like you have to rescue everybody to prove that success hasn't changed you. Somebody else took advantage of people, so now you refuse to negotiate for yourself because you don't want anybody thinking that you're selfish. Somebody else mismanaged their money, so when you make one financial mistake, you just don't think it was a bad decision. You automatically go to, I'm just bad, I'm horrible with money. Then the other thoughts set in. Maybe I can't trust myself. Maybe I'm just like them. And we end up carrying shame for things that we didn't even do. And then we go on to make life and financial decisions around trying not to prove who we are not. And that is exhausting. And when it comes to finances, it can be expensive because there is no way to satisfy every opinion the world has about money. If you don't make enough, somebody will say you should have worked harder. If you work constantly, somebody will say money isn't everything. If you save, somebody will say you need to enjoy your life. If you spend, somebody will say you should have saved. If you help your family, somebody will say you have poor boundaries. If you don't help, somebody else will say you forgot where you came from. If you let an adult child live at home, somebody will say that you're enabling them. If you ask them to contribute, somebody else will say you're taking their money. If you ask for help, somebody will say you should have planned better. If you struggle alone, somebody else will say, well, you should have asked. You cannot build your financial life around avoiding everybody else's judgment. At some point, you have to be able to look at your own situation and make a decision based on what's actually true. And that brings me to something else I've been thinking about, and that is self-trust, because this goes far beyond money. A lot of us have been conditioned not to trust ourselves. And I think this can happen in a lot of different ways for many reasons. It can happen in an unhealthy family environment. It can happen when your experiences are constantly dismissed. It can happen when you're told you're too sensitive, you misunderstood, you're overreacting, that didn't happen the way you think it did. And it can happen through religion when religion is used in an unhealthy way. And I want to be very clear here. I'm not talking about faith itself. I personally believe in prayer, and I know that God answers. There have been things in my own life that were so direct that I personally cannot explain them away. But I also don't believe that God created us to be incapable of making a decision until we receive some extraordinary sign for every single thing in our life. There is a difference between seeking guidance and being afraid to trust any thought that comes from your own mind. And when faith has been weaponized, sometimes we are taught to become suspicious of ourselves. Every desire could be selfish. Every instinct could be wrong. And every confident decision might be pride. Every mistake becomes evidence that we should have waited longer, or prayed harder, or asked somebody else, or done something different. And eventually, you can become so afraid of making the wrong decision that you stop trusting your ability to make decisions at all. I know I've personally done that. I've had situations where I felt strongly that I should do something or not do something, and instead of examining that instinct and making a decision, I distrusted myself. Then later, when the consequences showed up, first thing was popped in my head was, I knew it. I knew this didn't feel right, and I ignored myself, right? And now, that doesn't mean every feeling we have is intuition. I want to be clear about that as well. And it doesn't mean that every impulse is necessarily wisdom. Sometimes we want things that make absolutely no sense. Sometimes it's the fear talking. Sometimes it is ego or impatience, or sometimes we just want what we want. And that's why I think rebuilding self-trust has to include both your internal judgment and your external reality. If something in you is saying, I don't think I should spend this money right now, then listen to it. Then check it. What do the numbers say? What happens to your reserves if you spend it? Is this something that actually needs to happen right now? Are you doing it because it makes financial sense, or are you doing it because you feel guilty? Because you feel behind? Because you feel like you need to prove you're making progress in something? Because somebody expects it from you? Or because saying no just simply makes you feel uncomfortable? Those are all different questions, but they're all very important. And I've also learned that something can be a good financial action and still be the wrong financial action for right now. Investing is good. Growing your business is good. Helping people is good. Paying for opportunities is good. But timing matters when it comes to all these things, and so does capacity. Your actual financial position matters. So let me give an example. So if you have $10,000 and you invest $1,000, that decision means something very different than if you have $1,200 and you invest $1,000 because you're afraid of falling behind. Same action, completely different decision. And I think that is a part of financial maturity, being able to distinguish between the two. And moving away from this idea that certain financial behaviors are always good or always bad, instead of living in a world of absolutes. It's important to ask questions. Is this appropriate for where I am right now? And then trusting ourselves enough to accept that answer. Even when the answer is not exciting, even when the answer is wait, even when the answer is no, even when the answer is I actually need help, even when the answer is somebody else needs to contribute, even when the answer is I can't afford to do that for you right now, even when the answer makes somebody else uncomfortable. Maybe one of the most expensive words in your financial lives and my financial life has been, is, and will be the word should. I should be able to afford this. I should pay for this. I should help. I should have more by now. I shouldn't need anybody. I should already know what I'm doing. And I think every once in a while, we need to stop and ask, who said? Where did I learn that? Is that actually true? Or is that just a rule I've been carrying for so long that I stopped realizing that it was a rule, and that this is where know better, do better comes in for me, right? Is it a rule? Does it have to be my rule for my life? Who created this rule? And why do I even believe in that? Sometimes we technically did know better, but there's a difference between knowing something intellectually and being emotionally prepared to act on it. So instead of looking backward and saying, I was so stupid, I knew better, why'd I do that? Maybe the more useful question is, what was driving me when I made that decision? Was it fear? Was it guilt? Was it shame? Was it obligation? Was I trying to prove something? Or was I afraid of being judged or afraid to disappoint someone? Did I already know what I wanted to do but did not trust myself enough to do it? Because if I can identify that, maybe next time I can catch it sooner. Because maybe next time I leave the money in the account. Maybe next time I say no. Maybe next time I ask for the contribution. Maybe next time I let somebody pay for something they're perfectly capable of paying for themselves. Maybe next time I ask for help before I'm desperate. Maybe next time I wait 3 days before making the investment. Maybe next time I make the decision I already know makes sense. And maybe I still might get some of them wrong. That's going to happen too. Because rebuilding trust in yourself does not mean you suddenly become a person who never makes a bad decision. You will make some. I will make some. Everybody does. The goal is not to become perfect enough that we never lose money, never misjudge anything, and never wish we had done something differently. The goal is to stop treating every mistake as proof that we are incapable of making good decisions. We need to correct it, recover, learn something, and keep going. Because the more I think about wealth, the more I believe learning how to earn it is only one small part of the work. We also have to become people who can hold it. People who can protect resources without feeling ashamed. People who can be generous without appearing or not feeling or not disappearing financially. People who can help without rescuing. People who can receive help without believing it means we have failed. People who can set a boundary without believing that makes us selfish. People who can make a decision without needing everybody else to approve of it. And people who make a wrong decision without deciding we should never trust ourselves again. So maybe some of the work of building wealth isn't learning one more thing about money. Maybe some of it is unlearning the things we were taught about ourselves. And I don't think that is something we fix once. I think as our money changes, different things are going to come up. Different fears, different obligations, different decisions, different versions of the same old conditioning. So while we're learning to build wealth, we also have to keep building our capacity to manage it. Listen to ourselves. We need to check what we feel against what we know. We need to recognize when shame is making the decision. We need to recognize when fear is making the decision. And when we know better, try to do better. Not perfectly, just better. One decision at a time.